Hello and welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast, and I am your host, Samuel. In this podcast, I interview top medical sales reps and leading medical sales executives across the entire country. And it doesn't matter what medical sales industry, from medical device to pharmaceutical to genetic testing to diagnostic lab, you name it. You will learn how to either break into the industry, be a top 5% performer within your role in sales, or climb the corporate ladder. Welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. I am your host, Samuel, and today we have with us Chip Helm. He's actually a #1 best-selling author with his book, Bigger Than Sales. And Chip actually hails from the medical sales space. He has spent the most of his career with Cook Medical, and he is currently a national sales manager. Today we're going to get into his career track, what got him into medical sales, what his career has been like, and ultimately what led him to become a #1 best-selling author. As always, thank you for listening to the Medical Sales Podcast, and we really hope you enjoy this interview. Hey, Chip, how are we doing today?
Great. How about yourself?
Fantastic. No complaints. Making it happen in 2021. So, Chip, you know what? Why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience listening?
I'm Chip Helm. I've been working for a multi-billion-dollar medical company for 36 years plus. I started as a sales rep. I've been a product manager. I've been in marketing. Actually, in the old days, we used to wear a lot of hats. I was national sales manager for about 17 years running. And then currently, I'm an account executive over in the government side for our company. Got it.
Yeah, we're definitely getting into that because I'm sure people are wondering, account executive in the government side, what exactly does that mean? But before we get into any of that, tell us a little bit about, I love to know where people started and why they're in the industry. So I know, you said 36 years. So you've been working for just a little bit less time than I've been alive on this earth. But why don't you go ahead and take us back to what got you into the industry? Why?
First of all, I'm older than dirt. So there you go. We'll start there. I have an interesting beginning because as a little boy, all I wanted to be was an orthodontist, like my father. I grew up wanting to go to dental school. That's all I thought about. I played football at IU for a guy named Lee Corso briefly, and it was all about dental school, And so I went off to dental school, and I didn't realize that 3 years into it that I didn't have the hand-eye coordination. Something was missing. I had the big hand-eye coordination because I played football, basketball, and baseball, but I didn't have the small hand-eye coordination. So it was a really, really unbelievable turn of events. I wrote a small, brief card, a handwritten card to my father, and came home on Father's Day, and he opened it up, and I think he started crying, and I started crying, and he didn't realize what was going on, and I was devastated. I didn't know what the heck I was going to do. But then again, that's why you have mentors. Right. I had a guy named Bill Armstrong out of the Indiana University Foundation who cared about me, who I met while I was riding what was called the Little 500. Right. And if you ever saw the movie Breaking Away many, many years ago. And so he just said, hey, I got this, great company for you. And next thing I know, I had one interview after another, and I got the job. I mean, all I had was a biology degree. Wow. So that's where it all got started. Got it. So this is kind of a pleasant surprise how you stepped into the company you're with now. Yeah, I mean, there was no such thing as sales back then. There was no sales courses. There was no sales degrees as there is today. Sure. I didn't know what the heck sales even meant. Right. But the one thing I had, or I guess I had, the story goes, is that mothers and would bring their kids, their daughters, their sons to my dental chair. So supposedly the story goes, they'd be out the door, around the corner, down the street, waiting to come and see me at the dental school. And maybe I figured out, wow, maybe I can connect with people. Maybe they can connect with me. Maybe I've got something I need to do differently. So that's how it all began. I love it. So tell us a little bit about what that looked like. So you started with this company, and then you've spent the next 30 plus years there. So you've experienced a sales rep life. You've experienced the transition into leadership. You've experienced management, and then transition to bigger management. Tell us a little bit about the beginning of your sales rep career, what that was like, and then what took you into your next level when you first touched leadership. Well, I'll tell you one thing. During my interview, first of all, I said, hey, I'll be a manager in 4 years. That doesn't always work like that. Life doesn't always work like that. So you've got to work hard. But I'll tell you one thing, I'll get it on the table right now. The best job you can have in the country today is being a sales rep. The best job. Right. I don't care if you're a sales manager. I don't care what you're involved in your company, but the best job you can have is a salesperson, because you get a chance to get out there every day and meet with people. Mm-hmm. And like I said earlier on LinkedIn, it's all about people, is meeting people. So I loved it. I'd get up early, I'd get out there and I'd go. Cold calling was no big deal to me. It doesn't matter. It's just, do you really care about what you do? Do you want to go see the people that you need to see? And you better love what you sell. I'll say that again, not like what you sell. You have to love what you sell, because I get this asked all the time. I had to find something that I could give back to life, to the community, to mankind. And so fortunately, I sold things that were for very sick patients and ill people. So that's how I got started. So it's really key to figure out, what do you want to do? Right. But for me, I had to find something that meant something to do in my life and I could give back. And it was more than just being like in retail, a jewelry salesperson. I could have sold jewelry for a while, but that wasn't what it was going to get me up every morning.
So what did you start out? What did you start out selling, and what was the disease state or the condition?
Oh my gosh, I was in the ICU. I was in the emergency room. We sell things called catheters and tubes that go into vessels and veins in people and to keep people alive. And it's just exciting because, back in that heyday, we wore the marketing hat. We wore a product manager's hat. We wore a salesperson's hat. Yeah. We wore a relationship building hat.
Yeah.
That's what it was all about.
So you say, one thing I want to kind of highlight, you say heyday. For people that have been in the industry that are listening, they know exactly what that means. I know what that means. But for people that haven't, tell us a little bit about what it means to have worked in the heyday of medical sales and how it differs from what it is now.
Well, I'll use the term heyday because first of all, you could park your car right out in front of the hospital, okay? And you could jump out and run into the hospital. Today, you can't do that, okay? Right, you get towed away. You could go up the back stairs, up to the sidewalls, the little crevices in the hospital, back through the door behind the physician's lounge to get in to see anybody. And obviously today it's totally different.
Right.
It's totally different. But the one thing I want people to know, yes, it is different today, but one thing isn't different. People buy from who they like. And if you build a relationship, they will open the door and you can still get into hospitals. I'm tired of hearing that people go, oh, it's too difficult. It's too hard. I can't get in. You know why it's so hard? Because they haven't built a relationship and they don't know the customer. It's all about the customer.
No, I'll take it. On that note, so tell us a little bit about that. Right now, we kind of, this era, I'll put it. And when I say era, I'm talking about a 5-year era. And let's include 2020 to 2025. COVID is a big staple in that era, right? In that 5-year time period. What would you, so you hear a lot of sales reps talk about, COVID, I can't get access. And even now, since COVID, it's a lot of providers and hospitals and private medical offices are saying, you know what, we kind of like this no access thing going on here. Outside of necessary care in certain medical device fields, it's kind of difficult to get access these days. When you say it's about the relationship and you're tired of hearing people complain, how do you apply that to what's happening now? And what do you suggest people do to get around it?
Well, first of all, COVID just speeded things up. It was happening in the medical industry where you saw less salespeople in the hospitals. Instead of 3 Pfizer reps, it's down to 1 Pfizer rep. There were too many salespeople in the hospitals to begin with. So all COVID did, number one, was just speed things up, the inevitable. It was going to happen. So next thing is you got this COVID. Oh my God, what am I going to do? I got to get Zoom calls. Okay, so you know what virtual is today? What really is? It should just be part of your toolbox. Mm-hmm. Boy, did I get better on phone calls. I thought I was already good, but now I'm even better. Sure. Boy, I'm better on how to write emails. boy, I'm better on phone skills, which the people today have no idea how to utilize phone skills and what to say on the phone. So all it has turned me is I'm a better salesperson. I'm better at what I do at my craft because now, because of because of COVID, I got a larger toolbox that's out there. Now I've got other things in my toolbox that I can use to be successful. The bottom line is access is access. If you have value, you've got to have value to go into the hospitals, either supporting the cases. You got to have something that they want. You got to have the relationships. You got to have the physicians, that want you to come in to see you. So yes, is it more difficult? Yes. But can it be done? Yes. And I'll tell you, if you have a love of the medical side of this industry and the drive, it's okay. You'll be just fine. Just keep going, get in there, build a relationship. I don't do anything differently than I did 36 years ago.
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it. As far as the skills that reps need to really be mindful of continuing to develop, like those phone skills and those video Zoom conferencing skills. I mean, the access is still there, like you said, but you got to know how to use the toolbox, the tools that you have available now. And if you can understand how to navigate the phone, understand how to navigate a video conversation, then you can do exactly that. Love it. Okay, so then you sold catheters. What took you into management? How many years were you a sales rep, and then decided to say, you know what? Now I think I want to be a leader.
Wow. Well, I told you at the interview, I said 4 years.
Uh-huh.
I think it took me about 10 years. Okay. And God doesn't always, I really believe in this. What's meant to be is meant to be.
Sure.
No matter how hard you try on something, it doesn't always mean you're going to go in that direction. It doesn't mean you don't try. It doesn't mean you don't have a goal. It doesn't mean you don't have a plan. So it probably took me about 10 years. Okay. And, I learned a lot during that time. I mean, if we get into, perceptions, reality conversation, we could talk about that, our self-awareness. Out there. And maybe I didn't have as great self-awareness throughout all of my career. And we could talk about that subject. But, the bottom line is about 10 years later, and I had an opportunity to get into management, to leadership, and I always believe there's a difference between being a manager and being a leader. Right. And I was very fortunate to have a lot of good people around me, because that's what it's all about.
Excellent. So you decided to be a manager, and that's good. You had a lot of experience as a sales rep. You probably saw a lot of different things that you were able to really apply to how you wanted to lead. What were the stark differences that you immediately saw when you stepped into management?
Well, first of all, it's called babysitting. A lot of management people don't realize, don't ask for everything you think you want, because it's not always what you think it is.
Sure.
And I'm just telling you one thing. I mean, part of management is it's babysitting. I have a chairman of department of surgeries that I know very well across the country, and I can't say their names, but basically they would always tell me, all these urologists and all these other surgeons, it's like babysitting a big horde of calves or cows or whatever. So I'd say that just understanding that a lot of it is listening, a lot of it is hearing them vent, a lot of it is, I'm sorry today, HR, personnel issues and things like that. It's not what you think all the time. But overall, if you want to, let people do what they need to do, stay out of their way, be there more as an advisor or a consultant, and, lead by example.
Okay.
And by your actions.
Got it. How many years were you a manager?
Well, 17 years plus.
Whew. All right. So you've seen it all. So let's talk about that, right? I want to know your top three off the top of your head. What are the top three things that make a top tier sales rep? When I say top tier, I'm talking about the 5% and up. They're at the top of the top of their peer class. So top of, if you have 300 reps or 400 reps or even 50 reps, they're within the top 5. What creates that? What top 3 things create that kind of rep?
Well, you made it too easy on me, Samuel. This is the easiest question you could ask. I mean, it's almost too simple. I use very big in KISS. Keep it simple, stupid, or keep it simple and sweet.
Sure.
And number one is people don't get back to people.
Okay.
And let me give you an example. If you text someone, if you email someone, you give them a phone call, all people want to know is they just want you to know that they just want to be acknowledged. They don't have to have the answer to their question. They just want to be acknowledged. And it just amazes me that people that don't get back, I'd say they did a study across all industries, and I think only 25% of people across all industries get back in a timely fashion to people. And when I mean that, I mean you have to have an urgent mode all the time. Does that mean you have to get back in 30 seconds? No. But in my 36 years, I've never been in a meeting long enough, never been that busy that I didn't get back to people. People choose not to get back to people. So that's number one. That is the killer. People don't get back. Because if you get back, people love you. Oh my God, you can just, you might as well count your money in the Bahamas. You will take care of people and get back to them.
Wow.
Number two, to be on time is to be early, which means is there's no excuses. Your alarm clock. I don't care how the traffic was at meetings. You want to get promoted in my world? You want to get promoted? If someone calls an 8 o'clock a.m. meeting, you're there at 7:30 in the seats. But my point of it is to be on time, always to be early. And with customers, there's a lot of times when you're with physicians and you have a 9 o'clock meeting and you show up at 8:30 and by God, he gets called the OR. Aren't you glad you got there 30 minutes early?
Sure.
But my point is, people are not like that. Again, you got to do this. These are behaviors, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I teach a lot. These are behavior changes. If you don't do it in your personal life, you're not going to do it in your professional life.
Yep.
So those are two. And then the last thing is you got to do everything and problem solve for your customers. It's not about you. It's about them always. They were always right. Customers are always right. And the key is they don't have to figure you out. You have to figure them out. But if customers are always right, it doesn't mean that they are right all the time. I'm not being literal here.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to treat it like customers are always right, and you treat everyone like a king and queen, from the ancillary people, the people around the physicians to the people inside those offices. I don't care who it is, but you treat them like kings and queens. Oh my God. You will make more money than you could shake a stick at. And I'll tell you one thing, you don't have to worry about that dollar amount.
You know what? That's sound.
Sorry, I get excited.
Hey, I'll take it, Chip. That is sage advice right there.
So there's my three things.
Yeah.
You gotta remember those puppies.
Yeah. Follow through, be on time, and treat everybody as
Equals. Oh yeah.
Everybody as equals. Take care of them. You specifically use the phrases king and queens. I like that.
Oh.
That resonates. That's good. That's good. So those are things to remember as a sales rep. Okay. Now I want to see the other side of that. 17 years you've seen so much. What would you say are the common pitfalls? And not just mistakes reps make, but the pitfalls, like what they can fall into if they're not paying attention. What are the common pitfalls you would say? Maybe your top 3 common pitfalls when it comes to sales reps in this industry.
Oh, I'd say first of all, number one, again, I'm going to go back to it. I think they fall into complacency. They get to the point where they're too good for their own good. You can always learn. You need to always work hard. I think you get complacent. You may not work as hard. You may want to try to go around the edges a little bit. You're not really doing things the right way. I think that can kind of happen in your career. I think that's one thing I've seen a pitfall. I'll be honest with you. I see a pitfall of how people self-awareness, and I mean at sales meetings around other people. And I learned this the hard way. Use your eyes more, listen more, and speak less. Watch around you at all times, because you don't know who's right in the other chair. You may have made a comment that can. You may get hurt by it. You may get screwed over by it.
Sure.
I think that self-awareness as a sales rep all the way up through management is key. And I've made that mistake time and time again, because I am just the type of person that I don't think I've never met a friend. So people usually like me, but you still got to be careful who's around you, what's going on. So again, you want to, observe more. You want to listen more. And you want to speak less. Another thing that I think in the sales world today, I wouldn't bring alcohol into any kind of sales or any kind of professional function.
You
I
wouldn't
think
bring
I
what?
think I wouldn't bring in drinking at all into any
Right.
kind of because nothing good comes out of it.
Gotcha.
And usually, if someone thinks you drank one beer, ends up when you only had one beer. Next thing you know, they said you had 6 beers.
Gotcha.
I just think alcohol. I've seen it not do well for a lot of people.
Gotcha. I want to go back to that those are great examples. And then again, let me just recap. Complacency. You mentioned the alcohol, and your second one. What was your second one again? Your second
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
Which I think is critical. I didn't learn very well. That's probably where I fell a lot.
Got it. Okay, those are great to highlight. With the complacency, that's something that I also see. We train sales reps and we work with a lot of sales reps, and complacency is something that I see a lot. Especially that 20-year or 10-year sales rep that thinks, I know how to do these things. Then they get a little granular with it, and they quickly realize, wait, there is something that I can actually learn here. What would you say a sales rep, especially someone that's starting out or someone that's relatively new, what should they want to do proactively to get in front of that complacency?
You always want to have a to-do list. I've had one for 36 years. I get up every morning and, hey, what's the top 10 things I'm going to get done today? And usually if you have 10 things written down on your to-do list, wherever you're going, usually turns into 10 to 15 to 20. Okay. So I'm always a believer of being prepared. It's all about preparation, and it's all about repetition, because as a good salesperson, if you don't know your spiel, if you don't know what you're going to say, I used to talk to myself on the way to meetings, and make sure that I lined out the 2 or 3 things I want to talk about in that meeting. And people think I was weird next to me as I was talking out loud, or I'd get in front of a mirror and I'd prepare my spiel. So I think those are some of the things that that if I'm a new salesperson, it's all about preparation. You can't prepare enough to go into meetings, to go visit customers. And all this preparation of being there on time, having the right materials with you. Are you prepared on what you want to say so you don't throw up on the person? Mm-hmm. It's the little things that make you really great. Yeah. If you're really good at the little things and really, cross your T's and dot your I's as you prepare each and every day.
It almost sounds like training, like consistent training. You're putting yourself through consistent training to stay brushed up on your skills. And to avoid complacency, every sales rep, regardless how long they've been in the industry, should take advantage of putting themselves into training constantly.
And that was Chip Helm. We got a little bit of history from Chip today, a little bit about his career track, but make sure you tune in next week to get the rest of his interview. And he talks more about what he did in his career and what led him to ultimately be an author, and what his belief system is around sales and how sales reps, especially in the medical sales field, can be the most effective. So make sure you tune in next week for the rest of Chip's episode for part 2. And if you're listening to this episode and you're thinking to yourself, I want to transition into the medical sales industry, or maybe you're in the medical sales industry and you want to transition into a different field within it, pharmaceutical to medical device, or medical device to med tech, or someone that's outside as a sales professional and you want to get into a medical device or pharmaceutical sales position. If this is you, then you need to go to evolveyoursuccess.com and select Attain a Medical Sales Role right from our homepage. Fill out our application and allow us to connect with you and help us get to where you want to go. And if you're someone that's in the field and you're a sales professional and you're in healthcare sales and you're looking for a way to really improve your performance, maybe you want to get access in a better way, or maybe you want to brand yourself through social media in a more powerful way, then make sure you visit evolveyoursuccess.com, select Improve Sales Performance. We have a LinkedIn selling program and we have a sales performance program that can really help you get to where you want to go. As always, thank you for listening to the Medical Sales Podcast, and make sure you tune in next week for part 2. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And remember, I have a couple programs that show you exactly how to break into the medical sales industry, become a top-performing medical sales professional, and also how to masterfully navigate your career to executive-level leadership. Check out these programs and learn more at evolveyoursuccess.com. Stay tuned for more awesome content with amazing interviews.